Hey, welcome back to another episode of Crash and Chug. In this episode, we kind of get into a bunch of different subjects, and as always, we try to have fun with it. This will probably be our last podcast for a little bit while I upgrade the equipment. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation on your way to your favorite trailhead on your commute to work. Hey, so I was watching a podcast recently with Snoop Dogg, and you know that song?
Were they doing this?
Actually, I think he was. Actually, I think they were. And
Okay.
you know that song? He's like, I don't remember the name of the song, but it's like, I'm probably gonna fuck up the lyrics, but it's like, hopping. No, he's like, mic check. He's like, hopping, stopping, hopping like rabbits. When it, you got the habits, I lay back in the cut, retain myself. Speaking of something, I think you. Either way, it was a mic check, and Doctor, like, he was
Hmm.
just going in to check the mic, and it ended up being like a hit song. He just started freestyling. Now
I gotta look that up. I gotta look that up.
yeah, I forgot what it's called.
Man, he's one of the entertainers that has like reincarnated, no, incarnated himself over and over and
Yeah,
over and over and
he's
over.
staying with the times, and he just came out with a new album too. And then not only that, he's kind of diversified his, you know, and everything, like from coaching kids to
Portfolio.
portfolio. Thank you.
Diversify. Yeah, his portfolio of multiple streams of income.
Yeah. So, hey, welcome back, everyone.
Hey,
Hey, there he is. We got a lot. There you go, pro. We got a lot going on back here. This is gonna probably change again. I was looking at it right before we started. I was like, I'm not really feeling it. It looked good when I did it, but yeah, I'm gonna swap it up. But so I
don't
like
worry,
this light.
guys.
I like the light though.
Chugging is still gonna chug. That's
Chug is
not gonna
still
change.
chugging, still chugging. So how was your?
No, it looks pretty cool though, man. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're listening to this, on one of the platforms of just a podcast, you can't see it. I mean, you got to explain to what are you talking about? What's like going on?
yeah.
What you
So
got there?
I got my. If you guys haven't seen the YouTube channel, like us on the YouTube channel, I have of course, one of my first race helmets. But I brought out some stuff out of the closet that I normally like. Most of my military stuff is in a closet, and I used to have the flag up here. But I wanted to put that flag in the garage where we work out, so I did that. And then I have this coin holder that was given to me at my last unit right before I retired. I threw that up there because they look cool, but at the same time, and it does look cool, but I don't know. I'm just not really feeling it. And I got this like I don't know if it's like a I don't know where it's from, but we got it.
Tribal
Yeah, it's like
man.
a
It's like a
tribal
tribal
mask. Yeah, I
man.
was trying to think of like the right word to use. It's a tribal mask, but I thought it looked cool. We got it at a thrift store. We kind of go off in conversations about aliens and stuff like that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I have I believe my sister got me that. It's a Bruce Lee. I don't know who wasn't into Bruce Lee in our era growing up. So I have a Bruce Lee like little with the gong and the dragons, and he's standing with his nunchucks, kind of in a
It's like a pergola. He's standing underneath the pergola.
pergola.
So
Thank you. And then I still have that coconut thing that's staring at you guys, and then
still no name.
my little bongo, and then I have a pair of nunchucks that one of my pairs of nunchucks up there. A little bit of me in here, and then y'all can't see this, but I got a machete just in case. I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
never know when you need one. You never know.
yeah, if you want to
You never know.
peel an orange or something,
You
um,
might get thirsty and want to crack that coconut open. You
there you
never know.
go. So yeah, just a
Yeah.
little bit of this, a little bit of that. But
I didn't show you where I put my placement. Shouts out to you. Thank you. We got it in there.
oh, sweet,
And it
yeah.
just so happens to have another hand. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, and it's the opposite hand too.
That's crazy, right?
That is, hey
That's
man,
crazy,
I really
bro.
don't,
Yeah.
I really don't believe in coincidences. So
Me either.
don't settle for no fuck shit. Nice, I like it.
Yeah. yeah, but I seen that. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool the way that worked out.
Yeah, man. It's I have a lot of stuff like what they call like synchronicities where all these things kind of line up and it just seems perfect too good
Yeah,
to be true.
speaking of lining up and perfect. So I will show you my helmet. So this is where I'm recording from now,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that you transform from that or this of sorts to the body cam, and I'm noticing why. Like my head turns too much when
Yeah.
I'm trying to record stuff.
Yeah, and those are all things you kind of learn when you start recording. Like I've tried different angles. I've even tried on my handlebars, but um, I mean, this camera is probably good for it, but most of the cameras, the GoPros, like it's too much vibration. So like the
Mm,
you get people sick. They're trying to watch it. It doesn't really make good for watching. Yeah, it's definitely like the chest cam is you get the handlebars and you kind of get a good view. I mean, it's got its limitations, but you just gotta have to make sure you have it at the right height. And then sometimes you have to run it upside down because, and then run the angle, like you have to pitch it out a little bit underneath to, because when you stand up, I don't know how much standing up you do, but at least I do. Like when you're kind of standing up in your attack position, it
yeah,
if you have it just flat against your chest, then you're just going to see your top tube. You know what I mean? It's just going to be pointing down because you're going to be standing up with your chest down.
got you,
But if you
got
kind
you.
of angle it just so, where it's just kind of looks almost like it's not really looking up, but I don't know, halfway in between there and that, maybe like I don't know, 15 degrees or so. Um, then
Yeah, I had
you're
to adjust. Like my first video, I had my helmet in the video, so I had to adjust it. I just thought, okay, I could see something, so I just started going. So just
yeah,
I had to tweak it, and then once I tweaked it, and I was like, I turn my head too much. I'm like this all the time. Like,
yeah, yeah. So those are, I mean, those are things you kind of learn, and then you can. One thing that's cool about having it like that is on your helmet is you can put the camera backwards, and then you can record like people behind you. So don't take that off, and that's a cool
I
shot.
didn't think of that. I
Yeah, it's
didn't
a cool
think of
shot.
that.
Yeah. So those are things to think
Yeah.
about. Because that's where I have one on one of my helmets. I get some cool shots. Like I still need to go through that bunch of videos. I've actually I stopped making videos right now because changing softwares. I'm about to change softwares from the software that I'm actually trying to, in the thought process of always trying to get better. So I'm changing my software program to Adobe Premiere, and it's cost money, but it's an investment to try to get better quality products. Not products, quality, content out. So,
Yeah.
um, and there's another like there's some other reasons for that. Like the software I use, I really didn't know if I was going to get into like video editing seriously, so I kind of didn't really spend a whole lot of money in it. And it seemed like the best option at the time to see if I was going to enjoy it. But then I got comfortable with it, then I got good with it. But then I don't know, reading the terms and conditions really sketched me out. Um, and
Yeah, and I'm getting real sketched out about paying for the subscription for the GoPro plan. It's like I'm paying for the cloud, but I can only access it from one or two of my devices,
yeah, and
and I'm not able to edit it.
I think that's a limitation, unfortunately, to your the processing speed of your laptop. I assume. I mean, I until we go and troubleshoot it, because
Yeah.
usually you have to have at least. And computers are starting to come with that now, at least 16 gigs of RAM, because it's such a hog. One thing you could also try is make sure all your windows are closed when you only have that software
Mm,
open. If you have anything in the
okay.
background, like like your internet open or anything like that, you have to shut all that down. Most of the time, I put my stuff in airplane mode, because you can still
Mm,
access the Wi-Fi through airplane mode, but still make sure all those things are down, and that kind of frees
noted.
up. Yeah, it frees up your background, so you're able to. So little tips for anybody that's video editing or anything like that. Those are things to consider
Yeah.
before purchasing any type of editing software. I recommend that you guys go in and see what the requirements are for that editing software, and then go to your computer, go to wherever your settings are, see what the processing speed, the RAM, and make sure they match up or at least exceed what it's asking, the minimum requirements. Because that's why I had to
Yeah, don't be
buy.
like me. Don't
Yeah, hey, it's
walk
part of it though,
walk with
man.
your fingers.
It's
Yeah,
part. It's
walk with
part.
your fingers.
Yeah, it's part of it though, because that's if you don't know, like especially like I didn't know when I got into this, like any of this shit. And I, wasted I don't want to say wasted, but those were like just expensive lessons to learn. And once I kind of started like, learning those things, I can share that with others and anybody listening. If this is a route that you're planning to go down, then those are things to consider. Um, because yeah, I mean, especially I don't know if you're kind of a perfectionist in trying to, if these little things kind of bother you, or like if it's processing speed too slow, like I don't know, it ends up costing you in time,
True,
and
true.
either money or time. I mean, I think time's more. I think it's
Priceless.
relative. Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's more important, but at the same time, so is money. I mean, depending on your situation. So.
For example, like I've been paying for this software for maybe a month and a half or so,
Mhm.
and I say 2 days ago I was just now able to actually figure out how to upload without editing to YouTube.
Right. So, I mean, those are things to learn. You could also check your
Yeah.
phone because a lot of phones are capable now. And that's why I actually bought this gaming PC. I went to Best Buy because my thoughts were, I'm gonna get. It was time for me to upgrade my phone, and I really didn't want to. I wanted to get like a bar phone because I don't know. I always have this like I'm always like on the fence of like just getting rid of like I don't want to say getting rid of social media altogether. I mean, kind of that's kind of where I go with it, and I'm always on this fence. So at the time I was like, I just want to get a bar phone. I just want to be able to make phone calls and texts, and that's it. You know, but then I was like, oh, I want to go down this path of video editing, and the laptop I have right now does not support like any type of editing software that because it fucking eats the
Yeah.
shit out of memory. So when I went to Best Buy, I had I was looking at the new phones. The new phones are like the phone I wanted. I think it was like the S20 or something at the time, the Galaxy. It had all the processing. They're like ridiculous now. It's like something like, I don't know. I'm probably gonna jack this up like 50 mega like RAM, 50 gigabits of RAM, which is
More than this
insane.
laptop that's recording
Oh
this right
shit,
now.
it's like almost three times as much as my laptop. And so I was looking at that. I was like, yeah, I could do all my editing on here, yada yada. And then that was almost like gonna be like a grand, I think. And then I went over to I was like, let me check out the PCs, like let me check out the desktops, I should say, see what the cost of those. And the desktop was like, I don't know, they're having a sale or something, but it was like 700 or something. And it had all the motherboard and the processing speed, and I upgraded the RAM afterwards because I wanted more RAM. And it's like 60 gigs of RAM or something like that on my desktop, and or something
Mm.
like that. It's 64 gigs of RAM on my desktop. So I kind of, I was like, yeah, it's gonna cost, but I'm gonna be more comfortable editing. I'm gonna be able to sit down. I'm not gonna be on a phone, trying to edit my shit. You know what I mean? And
Man, it's tough. Like trying to make spreadsheets or something on your phone. Like
yeah,
I'm a phone
and
phone
maybe
fanatic. Like
And maybe if I was like, and that's one of the benefits, right? I kind of always talk about I don't want to say always, but most of the time I talk about the negative sides of having a phone. But maybe that's just a generational thing. I think like kids nowadays are more, unfortunately, depending on how you choose to look at it, are more integrated with the 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 invention of phones because they
third
grew up with
hand.
it. Exactly. You see them and they're just like, it's like, somebody with a Rubik's cube, just kind of going off on it. So maybe that's a generational thing, but for me, I'm more geared towards maybe because being in the military, having to use a desktop or whatever. That's
Yeah, and
more
I'm
more
like
more on speed.
a fusion of all the stuff. Like
Yeah.
my laptop might not be as fast, and one phone might not have as much memory, but then I just kind of swap them out and use them accordingly.
Right. So yeah, so those are kind of just lessons learned, and that's how I got my desktop. And I mean, with technology, you buy something and it's like it's already old. You know what I mean? It could be the newest thing, but it's old.
Yeah, fresh
But
off the showroom floor don't mean nothing anymore.
yeah. So how was your Thanksgiving, man?
It was plentiful of delectable delights, and I cooked something pretty cool.
What'd you cook?
Some bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts.
Nice.
Brussels sprouts? Yeah, Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts, the circle one.
BRBs.
Yeah,
No,
little
BWBs.
honey and caramel caramelization went down.
Now, when you like, did you wrap them first and then you caramelized them, or did you?
Yeah, I wrapped them with the bacon and then let the bacon get a little bit crispy, and then I poured the caramel and stuff over them, and then flipped them and rotated them till they were
Did
done.
did you bake them, or did you put them in the like on a pan and just sweat them?
I baked them.
Okay,
I
nice.
think. Yeah, I baked them. The
Okay,
bacon turned out crispy on all of them. How was yours?
nice.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. It was good. I ended up making like a dressing or stuffing, and what I did was I had this idea a while back. I saw some cooking show, and I just never did it. But I made a cornbread stuffing or dressing. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But with chorizo in it. And so
That
like I
don't
did the
sound bad.
chorizo, and then like, I put the onions and the celery and um apples and
Apples.
yeah, apples, and I put them all in the pan and on a skillet, and
Green, green or red apples?
red, red. And then I caramelized everything together, the chorizo, onion, celery. I know I'm forgetting some stuff. And I did all that and then I already had the cornbread on the side already made. And then I also added those bags of, I don't know, Pepperidge Farm like stuffing, which has all it's already kind of pre-made. And then
Hmm.
I poured all those vegetables on top of the cornbread and I broke it up. And then I poured that other stuff on top with chicken broth. And then and then I threw it in the oven for a bit. And then yeah, that's what I took to my sister's. And
You was
it was
putting it down.
yeah, man, it was a big hit, dude. I wanted to take it home, but I don't want to be that person, just kind of walking away with it, yeah, afterwards.
Hey, why not?
But I'm kind of glad though, because I don't know. I would have ate the whole fucking thing, you know what I mean? And I don't know,
Trust
just
me, I
trying to
know.
save me from myself.
I ate four Monte Cristos the other day.
What is a Monte Cristo? I know I've
French
had one before,
toast,
but I don't remember.
French toast with meat and Swiss cheese in the middle. Pretty much, that's all it is. You just egg yolk the outside of the bread.
Nice.
If you just using regular like plain bread, but if you got a different type of bread and it fluffs up, it makes it more more pleasing to the eyeball.
There you go.
And sprinkle some powdered sugar over it.
What is that called where you make French toast and then the eggs in the middle? I'm sure. Yeah, you ever seen that where it's like
No,
it's a French toast, but then you put like an over easy egg in the middle or something like that. And then I don't know if you bake it or you make it like that, but maybe I just dreamt that. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's a thing, but
I'm looking that up right now with the
I mean, it
egg in the
sounds
middle.
delicious. Yeah. I remember when I was in Spain, we went to a cafe. We're in Maroon, and we always used to go to the
That's what
Spanish.
it's called.
What is it?
That's what it's called.
What is it
What
called?
you just said. French toast with the egg in the middle.
Oh, is that what
Egg
it's
in the
called?
hole.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, crazy.
How about that?
I thought it had,
I've never heard of that.
I thought it would be some kind of fancy name to it, like French toast a la huevo or something. I don't know. But I wasn't but so one of the things I make now, every so often, when I was in Spain, we used to go to the cafeteria site, and because they had the best food, as opposed to the chaha, and
Yeah.
they would serve, and I remember when I first saw it, I was like, because in my mind, I would still see the traditional like American breakfast or like Mexican breakfast or whatever I was used to at the time, and they served for lunch. It was like uh I don't want to say fried potatoes, but it was like potatoes, like, and then they throw a over easy egg on top, and then with a and underneath all that was a pork chop. And you never had
Sound
that?
like Ray. No, sound like Huevos Ranchero remix.
Yeah, man, but it was delicious, dude.
Nah, I
And
ain't never
so
had that
I
one.
make that sometimes, or I'll make a like a piece of toast, and then I have the potatoes, the I don't know what they call it. They're not like fried potato. I guess they're fried potatoes because sometimes I bake them because I don't really like the fried part too much. I'll put them on the skillet, kind of brown them up, and then I'll throw them in the oven, on high temp, and then I stir them every so often after I season them and everything, and they get
Hmm.
that like crisp, you know what I mean? That hard crunch, not like too much, but like, and then I take them out.
Kind of
And
like a
I
hash brown crisp.
Yeah, yeah, kind of, but they're diced up potatoes. I know there's a name for dude. I'm jacking up
Them
this
is
game.
hash brown.
They're not
Hash brown.
hash browns is
It's a
like
form. It's a form of hash browns,
I guess so. Because when I think of
or
hash browns, I
let's say
think of
a variation of hash browns.
yeah. Because when I think of hash browns, I think of like McDonald's, like those like hash browns, where like it's just like
No,
spread out. But
no,
anyways, so I'm getting hungry just not talking about this.
man, yeah. Oh yeah, and I made some homemade potato chips.
There you go. Nice. I don't think I've ever made
Yeah.
potato chips. Hey, I like potato
The
chips.
key is the only way they work. You got to leave them in the refrigerator, soaking in water overnight. That's the only way they work.
Really? And then you throw them
Yep.
in the oven or do you fry them in a pan?
You fry them in a pan with at least like 350. The oil got to be like hot as shit.
Now,
Depending on your pan, you can only fry like three chips at a time.
yeah. The only thing I don't like about frying stuff is like you have to do something with the oil afterwards, and I really don't like throwing it away. I mean, I guess you throw it in a
We
container or
throw that
something.
on the fire pit, baby.
You throw it on the fire pit,
Yeah, why not?
like while it's burning, or
No, no, not when the fire pit's burning. No, like when it's done and over. The old grease.
oh,
That's
okay.
what we use.
So
That's what I use to start the fire today. Whatever I want to flame on.
you throw after the fire's done, you pour the grease on top of the fire, and then you use that grease to relight it later.
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that. Man, try
Yeah.
that. I don't know. Yeah,
MacGyver of sorts.
yeah.
MacGyver of sorts.
There you go. There you go. So
Yeah.
what what things you been into lately? Like catch do you get into anything recently as far as
Man,
any things you've been watching or
nah,
anything?
just laying low, man. Like after Thanksgiving, it's been nice. Like today's gonna be 72 degrees. This is gonna be a record. The hottest day ever.
You should get out and ride, man,
Yeah, that's the
if you
plan.
can.
That's the plan.
There you go.
Yeah, what about you? What you been up to?
Been up to a lot. I think, yeah, I have been researching. Um, been researching. I don't know if I talked about the software. We talked about that beforehand. Been researching software to upgrade to. And I've also been researching to get like a podcast bundle. Remember, I talked to you about that a while back because
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the issues that we have whenever I have guests in here. I can't have you on just because of the limitations of USBs and mics and all that jazz. But so I've been researching that, trying to find a podcast bundle, but not like a cheap side. Not to say I have a lot of money, but if there's anything I learned about mountain biking, it's buy once, cry once. You know what I mean?
that
Because
makes sense. That does make
yeah,
sense.
I spent a
You
lot
pay
of
you pay
money.
for what you get. Like,
Exactly. I spent a lot of money, not a lot of money, but just anytime you buy something that you don't end up using, it's wasted money. And it's not like I got a lot of money, but so I'm just trying to be a little bit wiser and take those lessons learned and carry it over. But I'm trying to find a good quality like suite of equipment that I could use, and it's going to last me a while. Um, so I mean, they go anywhere from, I don't know, because I'm looking at least for three mics, headphones, audio mixer, and the whole nine, and software to make things easier for me when I edit it afterwards, like the audio. Because one thing that's good about it is that when you have this suite of equipment, you can individually adjust people's audio. So when I edit afterwards, like let's say this session, and let's say your audio's off or my audio's off, and then it's
You
on the
can adjust
same,
it, tweak it.
yeah, it's on the same recording. I have to go in, and when the one person's talking, I have to cut that, adjust the volume, adjust the bass or whatever, and then when the other person talks, and then I have to adjust that, and then so forth and so on, all the way down the line. So if it's like an hour podcast, I got to do that, and it just doubles my time. But if
That
I have
sounds
this,
intimidating to someone that wants to get into video editing.
no, it's just ask me, man, and I'll try to help you out in any way I can. I mean, there's a lot of lessons I learned, and but that's just for the podcast, because that's where audio plays into it, and like because you want to hear. I'm pretty sure that people are listening. Like when I listen to podcasts now, there's quite a few of them I listen to, and then I can hear, like, again, with kind of me being, I don't want to really say perfectionist, but little things like that bother me when I hear, like, if I can't hear the person, or the other person comes in too loud, you know what I mean? And it's just where I'm like trying to strain, to listen, and I can't really hear them. So those are things that stick out to me. And I try to carry that over to people listening to our podcast. I want to put out the best quality podcast I can, and to make sure that people, when they're listening, they're not having to like turn up the volume, or if I have the volume too high, then they have to turn it down because you know what I mean? And just
You
kind of,
definitely own it, man. Because I mean, hey, A1 to the video editing, brother. I must say, it's
thanks,
it's
man.
it's yeah, you're doing your thing.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying it, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy kind of talking about these subjects and kind of raising awareness, and then at the same time, have people, intrigue them into different conversation, to have them do their own research, and try. It's just trying to find this common ground. But yeah, so um, I've been looking at a suite of equipment for that, and then yeah, and then I'm trying to get ready for race season next year. So
When does the race season start?
the first race is January 13th, I believe.
Right
And
around the
then
corner.
yeah, so I've been trying to like work out again. I started like lifting weights again. I'm trying to get the shoulder back up to speed, and
I saw you brought the bow out a couple weeks ago.
I did. And I've been practicing that almost every day. Even last night when I didn't get to practice, I was in the living room as my wife was watching something, and I was just kind of pulling back on the bow string, and then like bringing it back slowly, just to kind of work that muscle memory, I guess. Um,
I am waiting on a phone call for one of my buddies that has a raccoon trap. He wants me to put a bow through it when he catches it in there because it got out last time.
oh man, so you're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna make a hat out of the raccoon?
Man, I'm thinking about some slippers, man. I need some new slippers. I need some new slides for the house. You know what I'm
You can put
saying?
that. You can make a hat, and you can ride down the street with the tail sticking
I
out.
best I can do is put it on my foot. I'm not gonna put it on my hand.
But yeah, man. So what else you been up to? Just cooking?
Man, cooking, man, trying to make sure, don't have to pay this course back. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, learn from previous mistakes. I learned that lesson. So
Yeah.
even though it's, one course and then it might be two courses for maybe like 3 weeks, I gotta stick to my schedule, my plan, and man, see it through to the other side, man.
So speaking of schooling, I I I had applied for voc rehab a while back. Well, I went sat down with the counselor, but then I left Boston, and then I had to reapply when I got down here, but I never did it just because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to go to school for. Anyways, fast forward, I applied for it again, and not knowing, um, like how much changes there has been. And before it was like the GI Bill, except they would assist you a little bit more. Like if they bought, like if you needed equipment or anything like that, like as far as, or like books, or I mean, I know the GI Bill like provides books, but Voc Rehab was a little bit more, um,
And that's
assisting, I guess.
pretty much what I'm in. I'm in like a voc rehab type of course, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hadn't looked at it in a while, and then I went in recently because I kind of know where I want to go to school for now. So I looked into it and I set up a meeting, but then I dropped the ball. Like before the meeting, they send you an email, and then there's all these videos, there's all these documents you got to sign and submit to them before they have the meeting. And I didn't do it because I only read half the email. I skimmed it because I was
Yeah.
working on other stuff. But I'm glad I did, because when I saw the video right before the meeting was supposed to start, I noticed that there's been a lot of changes with it, not in the sense of a negative way, but it's kind of been more geared towards um, what's the word? I just didn't feel it was like a right fit for me. Before it was kind of like more like, I don't want to say freelance, because they still based off of your connected service connected disabilities, they kind of
Percentage,
like
yeah.
they kind of like, like you can't do this, you can't do that based off your disabilities. So they kind of like, keep you in a little funnel of whatever it is. And that's understandable. That makes sense. And that wasn't my reason. But now it's a little bit more, it's kind of the same path, but it's more like, I don't want to say more restricted, but it's more along the lines of like bringing you back to into the workforce, which is the common goal. But
Yeah.
I I kind of want to do my own thing, you know what I mean? And I don't want to be, so I was just like, oh, it's not right for me right now. So I think I'm just gonna go fall back on the GI Bill, and I may go back to school for like media and like video editing and that stuff, because I find it piques my interest. I enjoy doing
Yeah.
it.
I was looking it up actually the other day. So they would pay for things like food handler's license, pay for your to get your liquor license to be a bartender,
Hmm.
because that's considered like vocab or So I'm tapping into all that after this culinary thing.
So nice. So that's one other thing I saw was, and that's why I was kind of circling to, was there was an email that came out that I guess during COVID they approved everyone for the full rate of housing, and now there's an email that went out saying that anybody that's not attending class in person, they're going to cut the rate back to half. So
Yeah, I've
I don't
been
know if
getting
you saw.
half, so
Yeah.
I didn't
So
see that, but I looked it up and saw what it was gonna be online anyway. So
yeah, and I'm
it's
pretty
all
sure
good.
that anybody that gets those emails, that they're probably aware of it. They even look at their email. But yeah, it's kind of a little tidbit out there for anybody that's been getting stipends for housing. They're I think, I don't know when it's supposed to start, but it's something to look into if you guys are depending on that income to assist you guys in school and your personal lives.
Don't count the chickens before the egg was cooked.
I know, man. Don't don't. Um, was it normally I stay away from this type of like entertainment and TV. And I think last year I talked about, I just saw like 6 episodes of Tiger King, but that's pretty bananas. So
I've been hearing about it.
yeah, I only saw 6 episodes because I don't know, it's just like you kind of get a gist of the drama and ins and outs of like what it is. I mean, this is a whole different world, right? Of owning like big cats and stuff like that, like tigers. And I think I talked
It's
about
a
it.
white tiger farm in western Kansas. I used to deliver Amazon packages out there.
Yeah, and
Like why? And zebras. And zebras.
yeah, there's places like that here in Texas. And yeah, I wanted to say like initially the like there's more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are tigers in the world.
Sheesh.
But
I know a person that has two big Benji tigers.
Bengal tigers,
Bengal, yeah, Bengal.
yeah,
Small. I know a person that has two of them.
Yeah,
Why? I
man.
don't know. Just
That's
has
just
the money to get them.
yeah, and they're actually not that expensive. I think it's like five. I mean, it's not chump change for everyone, but five. It's like $500 or something to get a Bengal tiger. Yeah, it's not expensive.
But do you have to have like a certain type of permit to have that?
You should have a lot. I mean, they're okay. I don't
You
know the
can't just
detail.
be. I got $500 to give me a tiger.
It used to
No,
be that way. I mean, they're
in Texas.
and everywhere in the United States. There's like a so they're trying to work. Not they. And I only know about this. I'm not a legal expert. I don't know what the endangered species laws are, but it was pretty relatively easy to get a tiger, to buy one. But now there's because of this show, a lot of the laws are starting to change, and or they're trying to make them to change them to make it harder for people because you can't just buy a tiger and have it in your backyard. I mean, there should be some type of regulations that have like you got to have a cage or so much
Have to be
acreage.
an in. That would have to be an indoor pet. If like you have to have a huge house to have a tiger. Like I'm not getting a tiger in a 2 bedroom apartment. It's
Well,
not happening.
and that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't just have it inside. Like you should have. I don't want to say you should have, but there should be. I would think that there would be laws that you would have to have at least like 2 acres of land or something and have a in fence and caged in because a tiger, I think it's like they can roam up to like 800 miles.
Yeah.
So you're
So
restricting a wild animal to, I don't know, let's say 100 square feet or something or 200
that's
square
like
or
people to get the baby sharks and put them in the fish tank
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. And
or
there's some
piranha, put it in the
there's some
fish tank.
ethics laws that should be applied there, or at least some basic, morality laws. Because anyway, so yeah, that show. I mean, if you just kind of want to like learn about a world that's pretty corrupt and I don't know, it's pretty bad. It's fucking crazy. It's what it is. But
It was a huge social media craze probably about 8 9 months ago about it.
yeah, and I only saw like the first 4 to 6 episodes of the first season, and I was like, I've had enough of this. It's just like, I don't know, because
Yeah, I didn't get reeled in.
yeah, I've talked about like information diet, and that's kind of where I kind of go with it because you eventually like those stressors that because your body doesn't know any difference and your brain doesn't know any difference. So if it's getting stressed out by watching whatever content and so you're starting to get like like they're starting to get like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this and blah blah blah, and you're starting to get all these emotions that are worked up within you. Those kind of factor into your day or your night when you're about to go to sleep, and those affect everything, and if you're constantly watching this type of TV or whatever, then it does affect you because your body doesn't know any different. It's just going through the physiological changes as it would to any other stressor. So I really try to limit
Yeah.
myself. That's why I don't really I when I talk about the news, when I watch it, it's like I don't want to see it's like targeted. Like I watch a little bit of it, I kind of get an understanding what they're talking about, and then I put like I just change it to something else.
I'm like that in the morning with the news. I catch it, get what's going on, and then I'm out.
Yeah, just
I'm
because
not.
I don't want to just stick my head in the sand because I want to know if like there's a possible I don't know. For me, I just want to know what's going on, be aware, situational awareness.
Nothing wrong
But
with that.
yeah, so the other night I kind of just for whatever reason I saw there was a new season. I was like, what the hell? And I kind of heard some of the talk about the legalities of everything that's going on and with like what's his name, Tiger King, but his name's like Joe Exotic or whatever. And then there's uh anyway, there's this cast of characters, but there's like this legal thing that's unfolding as this like second season of the documentary is going on. So first it started like a reality TV show where they were trying to make it entertaining and that he loved animals, but then the first season kind of uncovered that like the dark side of it, and then that just keeps unraveling into the second season.
But
And
they already had to have known that. They know they was gonna get publicity of how they're treating them animals. So
yeah,
they was like,
and
shit,
yeah,
fuck it, let's go. Like Teen Mom.
yeah,
Like
so
why are 12-year-olds getting pregnant?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then there's supposed to be like a good person in there, and then her name's Carol Baskins. And I apologize, guys, if you guys are talking about like, what the fuck are they talking about? But it's just fascinating to
Tiger
me, like
King.
the psyche and like the like how just fascinating to me, like the world that this is, and just I don't know the way things are unfolding, and then it kind of like uh, pokes a like like kind of uncovers a veil of like the legal system too, like of the way that they kind of I don't want to say manipulate, but they keep certain things out to prosecute somebody, or they'll add certain things to make a case stronger. And so that's also being highlighted where in the first one they kind of arrested one guy, and then maybe they do that so that way they kind of lure other people to make mistakes, get them relaxed, and then they bust them for whatever. They were taking testimonies from people that had like a long, rap sheet, and they're obviously not, trustworthy. But anyways, there's all these things that are kind of. But Carol Baskins is the good person. She's the one that's been working with Congress, and I don't want to say Congress, but she's been like working to pass these big cat like I don't know laws like for sanctuary. But the thing with her is her husband went disappeared in 97, and it's like a cold case, like nobody knows what happened to him.
Did he
And
get eaten by a tiger?
that's I don't know, but his family has
Hmm.
been looking for him for a while, and she Carol Baskins has kind of been like on so Joe Exotic has been talking like we need to ask Carol Baskin where her husband at. But season two kind of gets into that where they go to, they start kind of diving into the weeds of, you know, like the day he disappeared, where he supposedly went. But as they're uncovering that, because he supposedly went to Costa Rica, and they go over there and they're talking to people that interviewed him, not interviewed him, but that worked with him, and they're like talking about how like he was a really nice guy and yada yada. But then there was the other side to him. Like he flew in with his own plane, which he shouldn't have been flying because it was his license was expired. But he showed up one time with a full of boxes, and the boxes were full of cash. And so there's this whole thing that's uncovering with that. But anyways, it's crazy to watch this thing unravel. But anyway, so
How many seasons total is it?
there's two seasons, and I just finished. Surprisingly, I watched both of them. I kind of binge watched them like the past couple
Oh
of
my god.
nights, and it's pretty crazy because I know there's probably gonna be a season three. But when, of course, the first guy got locked up, he started, if I'm in here for all this stuff, because there was
I'm
also
snitching.
yeah, because there was people that like they lied on the stand, and I believe I'm pretty sure the prosecutors were aware that they were lying on the stand. And so that's perjury. So they could have been a mistrial. So he shouldn't be in jail in the first place. I mean, just based on that alone. But these people that lied on the stand are now saying that they lied, and they're signing affidavits to get them out of
What?
jail. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. I don't know. So
Sounds
if you
like a
guys
soap
want to
opera.
some
Sounds like a soap opera of different sorts.
Yeah, so if you guys want mindless entertainment, and that's something that it's just I just kind of it got the curiosity got the best of me, and curiosity killed the cat. No.
Or or it made it burn when it peed.
Yeah, so it's fascinating at the very least. But anyways, we'll switch gears. Also been like interested in Epstein. If you guys I know you kind of Googled that a little bit earlier. So
Yeah.
the trial has been unfolding with that, and that's bad. So if those folks that don't haven't heard about Epstein, this guy, there's a documentary on Netflix about it, and that's what kind of uncovered it for me, and that is pretty crazy. So I remember a while back there was I don't know if you heard of a guy named Alex Jones, and some people are going to be like,
Negativo.
"Oh man, I'm turning this off because that guy's a conspiracy theorist and blah blah blah." But he was talking about this because I just like used to listen to him because some of the shit he would talk about was so wild that I was just like, "What the fuck?" Because it's just like that'd be crazy if that was real, that or that was true. Anyways, fast forward like 15 years or 10, 15 years or whatever, like he would talk about like how there was an island, and the elites go there, and then they have sex with underage kids, and blah blah blah. But at the time when you heard it, you're just like, that's not real. You know what I mean? Because if it was real, then
What?
the authorities would do something about it. You know what I mean? So, anyways, fast forward, this documentary is released, and it's true. This guy Epstein was kind of rubbing elbows with these wealthy billionaires, and was supposed to be providing financial advice to them. And but yeah, it was in. He had a place in Florida where he was, yeah, using just Elaine Maxwell, I think is her name, and just Elaine. Maybe I'm jacking that up. But if you guys know what I'm talking about, then she's actually on trial right now, because Epstein, when they actually arrested him and indicted him, he ended up mysteriously getting hung in jail. He hung himself in jail, and the person,
Mysteriously.
yeah, mysteriously, and then all the cameras weren't working, so it was a big old thing, because he was supposed to be like he was a profile um, uh, person, and
He
they
was
were
ready
like,
to snitch. He was probably
yeah.
about to snitch.
Yeah, so supposedly, like he not supposedly, but yeah, supposedly he hung himself, whatever. But the guy that was in the cell with him was like a ex murderer, or not ex murderer, but he was a ex cop, and he strangled his victims before, and yada yada. He's the one that found them.
I
So
wonder is he still. I wonder is he still in jail to this day, or is that cop out of jail? That ex
no,
cop that
I
killed
think
him.
he's still in jail. I don't know, man. That would be crazy if he's out. But so there's a big old thing about it in the news. Fast forward, the his right hand woman, who's the one that would go and uh,
Bring it.
kind of lure young girls in. When I say young girls, they're under the age of 18, anywhere from, I don't know the ages, but it was like 14 through, I don't know, 18 or whatever. They were young girls. That was kind of the MO, and they so a lot of them have been trying to prosecute him for a while. They would go to the authorities, and there was all this thing. So if you're kind of interested in that, you can go and research or look at the documentary. That kind of gives you an insight into it. But fast forward, like the latest court case stuff is that there's a whole list of high profile people in it, to include like Sony Entertainment. And so he would bring all these uh, wealthy people to this island. And I don't know how you lure them there, but maybe like, hey, we have girls over there you can kind of hook up with. And then, but his strategy with it, and we talked about this before, how like the wealthy, like they use blackmail to get people to do what they want. Um,
Yep. Set
so
you up.
that's
Oh,
pretty
I'm gonna
much
hold this against you. Win,
that's
and
pretty
if you
much what would
make it,
happen. Yeah, that's pretty much he would get them in these compromising positions, pun intended. And
mm,
well, that's kind of fucked up. I don't mean that because you're young girls. But he would get them in these like places and then record them, and then he has something on them. I'm not saying everyone, but you know, I don't know.
the
Like
vast majority.
even like Bill Clinton was on that plane, at least on the manifest, for like, I don't know, something crazy like 20 or 30 times.
Yeah.
And there was like a list of all these high profile like people. And I don't know if she's gonna snitch. I'm pretty sure she is. But yeah, man, it's just
If
something.
they don't get to it first, I hope they don't.
It's gonna be interesting, man, because if these people start going down, dude, that's gonna be fucking crazy. But I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how the justice system handles this, or if it's gonna get thrown out or what. Because there's like 40 or 50 high profile. I think even Bill Gates is in there. It's like fucking crazy, dude. But it's just kind of sheds a light into the darker side of humanity, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of something I kind of peep into every once in a while. I don't want to get too much into that, but so let's switch over to mountain biking and talk about down country.
Down country. What is that?
So
Is that
down,
like downward dog, but for mountain biking?
kind of. So there's all these different disciplines in mount or even cycling in general. There's like road cycling. There's So road cycling, obviously on the road, then there's gravel bike, and I'm probably gonna miss a couple of these, classes of riding, but there's road cycling, and then even in road cycling, you have different type of road cycling. There's like time trials and all this different. So there's road cycling, and then there's gravel bike, which is gravel bike is pretty much a cross between a road bike and a mountain bike, but there's like no suspension, and you can go on like trails and stuff, but it's just like a really rough ride, because there's no suspension. Then you have cross country, which is some suspension. Usually cross country is like anywhere from like 100 mils of travel, maybe it's like 90 to like 110, maybe even 120. No, I think it's like 110. So that's the front fork, the amount of travel you got. And then
Yeah.
there's cross country. Well, that was cross country. And then there's trail riding, which is 120 to 140, I think. And then there's enduro, which is 140 to 150 to 160, I believe, or 170. And then there's downhill, which is 180. Well, it used to be 180 to 200 plus mils of travel. So you pretty much have like a long ass fork. And that's just meant to go point the bike and go down as fast as you can.
So let me
And
ask you this: Is it, or does it make a difference if you were to have like shocks and you just strictly roll, like, like street high ride, like, or would that be a waste of having shocks?
no, 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 not at all. I mean, at the end of the day, you ride what you ride. You know what I mean? You ride what you got. And the only thing, the difference is between, it really kind of factors into comfort and time in the sense of, um, so if you're road cycling or if you're on the road, even if you have suspension, you just don't, you lose some of your power because a lot of the power is absorbed by the suspension. So you don't get as much power. I mean, you're still putting down the same amount of power, but you're not getting as much go because, or forward momentum because the suspension is soaking up a lot of the force you're putting into it. But when you like, so if you think of a road bike, right, there's like no suspension at all. It's just like thin wheels, and it's a really light bike, and you
Yep.
try to, and you like it's less gears, and you're just trying to go, and you're able to carry speed a lot further because it's so streamlined. Even the way you dress is different because you're going for speed, right? So when you're riding a mountain bike, which I've done many times, and I've rode with people that are riding thinner, not let's see, but road bikes, and it's harder to keep up with them because you got with a mountain bike, at least even my trail bike, which is a hardtail, um, it's got 130 mils of suspension right now on the front fork, and it's no rear suspension, but I got like 2.4, 2.3 inch tires on the front. So they're fatter tires and
Hmm.
they're more knobbier. So you get more friction and more drag when you're riding because the bike's a little bit wider and yada yada. Um, so it's harder to keep up with somebody on a road as a road cyclist, but you could possibly be putting the same effort, but they're just designed, engineered for two different things. But at the end of the day, you're still going to get there. You're just not going to be able to be as efficient getting there. Does that make sense?
True. Yeah. True. Because
So,
I like that phrase that you said, attack. Because like when I attack when I'm going somewhere, like I can tell, like I can get it. And
yeah.
then to have like the suspension when I can attack, I wonder how that would be, like how
Yeah.
that would
So,
feel different.
I mean, the suspension is one thing I love about a mountain bike. And even when you're riding the road, like if there's construction or if you need to pop up on a curb, I mean, you can still do it with a road bike, but it's just not as, I don't know. You're just limited to more areas that you can go, or you know what I mean? It's just a rougher ride depending on what the terrain turns into. With a mountain bike, you can be riding on the road and then you could pop up on a curb and then you can go over stuff. You can, just kind of bulldoze through certain things. With a road bike, you're kind of more limited, but at the same
But
time, you
and
just kind of trade off.
I'm actually thinking of trying to see what is the biggest tire I can get because I got caught in electric car tracks a couple times.
uh,
That's a little scary there.
so you could find out what size of tire you could get. Maybe because you have a hybrid, and the hybrid is exactly, we didn't even talk about hybrids, but a hybrid is a road bike and a mountain bike, just a mix of the two. So that's kind of perfect. Like you could still ride on a trail on a hybrid bike. You're just going to be limited to how fast you can go. Well, that's not really true because at the end of the day, it depends on the rider. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, if my body's not conditioned for that.
yeah, not yet. I mean, it's not conditioned yet, but
True that. True that. True that.
once you start doing it, like you can go as slow as you need to. And if somebody's coming up behind you, just pull off to the side, let them go by and continue about it. And anything you're not comfortable, um, any features you're not comfortable with, then get off, walk your bike, man, walk over the feature and keep going. I think don't let ego kind of like, check your ego, you know what I mean? Because it'll just get you
Yeah,
hurt.
and that's one thing. That's one thing. That is my ego tough on that bike. Like if I get on there, unless I got a flat tire, I'm never walking. I never walked unless I got a flat tire. Like big
Yeah.
hill, no, we're gonna pound that thing out. Like nope.
So
nope.
I would I think, I mean, you could easily either pull up the specs on your bike and see what the maximum size tire. It's usually the limit. So there's a couple of things that limit what size of tire you could put on there. It's usually the fork. The fork is where your front suspension is, like the width of that, and your front wheel, like the inner width of the wheel. So the distance between both ends where the tire sits is usually your two limiting factors of what size tire you could put on there.
Taking notes. Taking
Yeah,
notes
man.
over here.
Yeah, definitely. And I just spoke with because I went to my bike shop. Shout out to Crossroad Bikes for
What
my
up, though?
on my man. They're awesome. They're really good and they really take care of me. So shout out to Sean for working on my bike yesterday and get it dialed because I bent my front rotor on my bike, my enduro bike, and I couldn't even really tell. Even when I looked at it, it didn't look like it was wobbly when I took it in because every so often I would hit a bump and I would hear like a buzz. And so I went in and they got it squared away and I cut my bars thinner or the width closer because I had them at 800 millimeters, which is pretty wide. Um, but for around here, there's some narrow. The trails are narrow in some parts because of the trees, and I usually end up having to swing my bike over left and right just to get around the trees, and it could be a pain in the ass when you're trying to get like speed and also there's like a minimum.
Sounds a little dangerous.
Yeah, because you don't want to clip your handlebars on the tree.
That
So
just
where
sounds
was I going
good.
with that? I was going to what was I talking about before I got into giving a shout out? Uh,
It is cloudy Thursday over here.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad it's warming up over there, man. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a nice day. Mess around with this GoPro out here, try to get it straight.
is that the GoPro 7? Or which
Yeah,
GoPro is that?
Hero 7
Hero 7? Is it the black or the silver?
silver.
Silver. Okay.
Yeah. On my second memory card, the first one I got was not the accurate one. So now we put it with.
How's the second one working?
I'm able to upload straight, but not edit.
Got you. Oh yeah,
What
that's
you got?
what. Sorry, I
What?
forgot. My bad. So I was talking to him and he was saying like, "Hey, are you ready for 2022?" And I was like, "Shit, I don't know." I was like, I was ready for 2021 until 2021 happened and it seems like shit got crazier. But he was talking about how there's a expectation for bike parts to be even more limited this year than there was last year. So if you're gonna, for those, maybe I shouldn't say it, gonna make it
Order
even
them
more.
now.
Hey
Order them
man,
now.
it is what it is. So be aware if you're going to need any bike parts, you may need, if you have any future maintenance that you need to get done on your bike. Let's say your brakes are going out or your, I don't know, you need to do a build on your, you know, rebuild your suspension, like, replace the fluid in your lowers or your rear shock. Try to get those parts now because it may be a while before you get them. So that way, when it comes up due, you already have the parts on hand and you can either take it to your local bike shop or you can do the maintenance yourself. So it's just something you want to project whatever maintenance you're going to have and, budget for it a lot sooner than later because later may be too late.
Facts.
Also, I heard that Shimano, a lot of Shimano parts, which is one of the main industries in both the derailleurs and drivetrains and brakes and stuff. Um, I've heard from one of the bike mechanics, whether this is true or not, you can do your own research, is kind of like falling off as far as the quality of some of the parts, where they're not
Because they're trying to.
as
You think it's because they're trying to produce at a faster rate, maybe
maybe
because.
maybe COVID is also depending on wherever these parts are being made. Maybe the local restrictions are affecting that, where either like the experts are out sick, or maybe they're not allowed to go to work, so they're depending on other countries to make the parts, and they don't have the continuity or the experience to do so. So it could be a number of different things, but what I'm hearing is a lot of some of the parts that are coming from Shimano, they're having to send them back because they're just like, failing quicker.
Mm.
So do your own research, look it up. That's kind of what I like, what I
Know
heard
what
from
you
other
get before you
mechanics.
buy it. Know
Yeah.
what you get before you buy it.
Luckily for me, I use a lot of SRAM. Like all my both my bikes are SRAM drivetrains. So, and I kind of just like the feel of that. The only Shimano parts I run is on my hardtail, and it's my brakes. I run the Shimano Z's. Those are like downhill brakes, 4 piston. So there's 2 pistons. It's just like, so if you think of like two, and you guys can't see me, I'm putting my fingers up to show like the 2 pistons. So if you're thinking of just like regular brakes, they're just 2 pistons. They push on hydraulic brakes. I'm talking about. They push the brake pads in. The caliper pushes the brake pads in with two. With usually downhill brakes, there's 4 pistons. Um, so there's two, and so there's two pushing them down, and they're usually supposed to be stronger, not stronger, but yeah, like providing more even force on the brake pads. You're pushing them in.
Mm.
So yeah, and then on my other bike, excuse me, I run
Oh,
I run Magura MT5s, which I really like a lot. I like the Magura MT5s. There's also MT7s, but those you just feel like I had one guy ride my old bike, and I mean, granted, he's never ridden a mountain bike before, but he was maybe going like 3 or 4 miles an hour, and he just hit the brakes and he almost went over the bars, just because he wasn't ready for it.
it's not
So
a good feeling. I know that feeling.
yeah. So they're not as forgiving, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of like not on the fence, but looking at changing brakes on my enduro. But we'll see how the budget goes and what opportunities present themselves. So we'll see what happens with that.
Donations are always welcome.
Yeah,
Extra large frame. We
extra
still
large
waiting,
frame.
baby.
Yeah, man. So what do you Epstein? So have you heard about this metaverse thing?
Bits and pieces. Not really pay that much attention to it, but it's happening, ain't it?
Yeah, it's already in the works and stuff. And one thing is kind of, so if you guys don't know what Metaverse is, it's the new Facebook, platform. It's changing into Metaverse, where they're, if you guys ever played a video game before, and they have that's not the game itself, what is the game, but they have this like extra feature in the game where you could um pretty
Create
much
your
be
own avatar.
the avatar, and then you can run around like this, virtual world.
Sims.
Yeah, and then you can communicate with other people, and then like go to like parties and stuff like that, and like, in this virtual world. No, that's kind of, going to be the new,
No.
like, what's up?
No. Lighter
That's,
dead.
uh, that's going to be like the new Facebook where you're existing in this virtual world. And, I don't know. I mean, I
It's
just fear
different.
that, yeah, I just fear that, like, not fear, but like we talk about going outside, right? Like it's a human, as humans, we like the outdoors, and like we're from nature. I feel we are nature, and we're taking out that we already have. There's graphs that kind of, that graph the increase of, you know us being affected by, technologies, with mental health. And
Yeah.
if you factor that into, people not, so people rarely go outside now. I don't say not everyone, but a good amount of people, because they're
Vast
just,
majority.
I
Yeah.
mean, I get it. People are working, they got lives, they got kids, they got all these different things, aspects going on. I get it. It's hard to get outside, but at the end of the day, when you kind of get in this sedentary like lifestyle, there's a bunch of things that kind of negatively impact you. Stress levels. You're not getting the physical activity. You're not getting the sunlight, circadian rhythm. Like to wake up and then go to sleep at a certain time. There's all these different things. The greenery to to positively affect the forward movement. There's all these things that affect it, but so if, let's say, it's just like you're just watching TV all day, right? Or not watching, when you get off work, you just watch TV, and you then you factor in COVID, where people aren't going outside because they're either at work all day, and then they're inside, and or like, online, and then they, the natural form of life. But the body is being negatively impacted, because if you don't if you don't use it, you lose it, and your body's like built to be efficient. And so whatever you're not using, it just starts to shut down those systems, because it's not being used, because it's meant to survive. So it puts those, um, that power into other things in your body, like your brain power or anything like that, and it kind of starts shutting down these other
It's a
systems.
it kind of creates a domino effect of sorts.
It does. So I mean, there's like a small sample size of it. Like I think in Korea there was a, I don't know about Thailand, not Thailand, Taiwan, but there, when these, you remember that game, The Sims?
Yeah.
So
I never played it, but I remember it though.
yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like the first start into it, but it was a game. I don't know if it was The Sims, or if it is this, like, if it was The Sims or like a similar game. But people were getting so inundated into, or so involved into these virtual realities, that they were that it took over their lives, so much so that their kids were malnourished, they were dying, like all kinds of shit was happening, because the parents were so involved into, and you can say it's a shitty parent, but at the end of the day, if the
Yeah.
dopamine, if your brain, um so dopamine, right? I know I'm kind of bouncing around.
Has that addictive trait. Like I mean, it could be anything. It could be from the sales. It could be gambling. It could be drugs. It could be
Exactly.
alcohol.
It could be. But if, so going back to the metaverse, if you're getting more dopamine release from, and I talked about, let me reverse a little bit. So I talked about like a balance, right? There's a balance of everything. Too much of anything's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like we talked about in the lot when I had Shannon on. I don't know if you saw that podcast, but
Yeah, I
the
picked it.
difference between a medicine and a drug is the dosage. You know what I mean? So too much of anything is a bad thing. It's usually what I tell my kids, but or anybody. I even tell myself, and I try to keep in that, because sometimes I get like too, unbalanced with mountain biking or whatever. So I try to like circle it back and do all these other things. So if you're getting, and at the very basis of it, I believe it's the dopamine release that you get from something. So, whether it's social media, whether it's the metaverse, or like The Sims, if you're getting a more of a positive, um, these positive, interactions from people via this virtual world, then you're getting the positive affirmations from this wherever it is, whether it's like you said, drugs, gambling, whatever. But it's the very basic thing of of gambling. I mean, of gambling,
Yeah.
of dopamine. So if we're so people in Korea,
So you
I think it was
saying
Korea,
Mark Zuckerberg is creating a new drug in this
essentially,
video game?
because they
Something else for people to get addicted to?
yeah, so they've already been busted. I don't want to say busted, but they've already been caught uh, adjusting the algorithms. And I've noticed this a while back, and I think I've talked to you about it before. How if you post anything like positive or anything inspiring or anything like it doesn't really get any likes at all. Like it's just like the algorithm kind of knocks it down. But if it's anything negative, then you get all kinds of interactions and people, and that could be the human condition also. I don't want to not factor
Yeah.
that in. However, they exploit that in the sense of like their algorithms where because the way they make money is having people on their platform, right? I think Netflix, and this is just another way of it, Netflix said something like our biggest enemy is sleep. You know what I mean? So like their biggest competition or something like that is sleep, obviously because they want more people engaged because that's how they get money. So um if you're factoring in the metaverse where people are actually like starting to live in this virtual world, then they make more money. Um so if people aren't aware of that and their psychological mechanics are being, I don't want to say hacked, but manipulated with, these
Yeah,
little,
because they've been grabbing all the data what you like anyway, so they're gonna put it in this metaverse.
yeah. So, I mean, I've talked about the social dilemma before, where these whistleblowers from Facebook, Instagram, all these things, people that created these social networks are kind of realized the impact of what they did or what they created, and they are starting to now come like realizing it and now starting to come out and talk about it and saying like we need to adjust because there's ways to adjust it where you don't have these scrolling features which they got from slot machines when you like pull the thing and you scroll so it does something in your brain where you just want to keep doing it and doing it. And if you're not aware of it, and especially with kids, they don't know and they just keep doing they're conditioned
And with
to
the
always
swiping, either up, either like scrolling down or the
swiping,
swiping.
the dings, like ding, ding, ding. I can't say how many, and there's two sides of it, right? There's part of it, if they're not aware of it, they're being conditioned not aware of it. But if they are aware of it, they just become addicted to it because of it's like Pavlov's law, where it's just these dings keep um conditioning them. Because I've been in conversations with
Prompting or
adults,
something.
yeah, with adults, and anytime their phone goes off, like we're at dinner or whatever, they're just like grab their phone. Hold on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just like I'm just sitting there like, okay,
Yeah, but in these days, one ain't enough. You gotta have two.
So factor that into the metaverse. And then one of they're starting to Mark Zuckerberg and company are starting to like pander to religions where they want their religious like to pretty much have church on these platforms where people can attend church in these platforms. Yeah, or like I mean, what they call it, church or whatever, but they're starting to pander into religion. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty nefarious. But on the other
See
side
how
of
it
it,
plays out.
yeah, on the other side of it, like uh it's like so talked about China before because they're kind of like the opposite. I mean, they're doing a lot of sketchy stuff over there too. You know what I mean? They're doing a lot of good things, but doing a lot of bad things, like taking people that like Muslims and Christians and putting them in these like concentration camps and um,
Where is the tennis player? Where is the tennis player?
so yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of just like a small part of it. That's more of a publicized thing because she's a public figure. So that whole
Yeah.
thing with her like reading like a canned statement, or I think she read it or she
Was
wrote
that
it.
was that her, or was that somebody that looked like her? Hmm.
Maybe. I don't know, man. But either way,
They say
it's
we
not.
all look alike sometimes, but hey,
Either way, it's kind of like the template that you see, not with just her, but it's if you paid attention to anything they're doing over there, it makes sense that that would happen. If you talk about the regime or anything, they will, find ways to make your life hell, or if not, like take you out completely. um and they've been, I've talked about this before. I heard I think his name was Mike Baker, CIA guy, talking about how they want to be the world superpower by 2045, like overtake the United States
mm,
and all these, and they're doing it in a very covert way, subtly. They're playing like 5D chess, doing all these different things, to try to, bring themselves into that understanding where it's just like people
put them in
are
a
just
better
like not
position
surprised
too.
by it. Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty crazy, man, how these things are like working out. But on one of the, I don't know, the one of the good things, I don't want to say good things, but it's like they watched the show Social Dilemma, which I've, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And at the very least, be aware of it. So when you're doing these things, when you're doing social, you're at least aware of it, and you can kind of keep the balance within yourself or your kids. But they've locked down all their phones, kids like under the age of whatever. They can only scroll like 3 times within an hour or something like that.
What?
Yeah, they can only be on their phones for like an hour, in one day or something like that. It sounds extreme, but at the same time, I mean, that's one of the benefits. I'm not trying to advocate for being a communist country or being in an authoritarian state, but that's one of the things they could do. They can, you know, kind of, and I'm not for it. I'm all for, freedom, and I'm all for individual rights and willpower. Or not willpower, um, not willpower.
Free thought? I
Yeah,
don't
free
know.
thought, freedom of choice, freedom of speech. That's why I have a flag up. I don't know if people misinterpret that, because unfortunately, ever since like Trump went in office, it's almost like the flag, the United States flag, has been, I don't want to say hijacked, but a lot of people view it as, right wing and all these different things. Not only that we serve in the military, I mean, we kind of have that, but it's really a symbol. And we can get into the history of how the United States was founded and blah blah blah, and slavery and all that stuff. But at the very basis, like it for me, it's like the First Amendment is freedom of speech, and once you take that away, and we kind of experience this. Not to say that the military, like, but you were, for the right reasons, were limited to what you would talk about. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely. That's why I have so many aliases. 'Cause, all the social media stuff pretty much started when I was in the military. So I was like, can't use
and
my real name.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, when I got out, I feel it was important for me to kind of be able to speak my mind and say whatever. And I still have issues with that at times, like thinking about what I'm going to say and how it's going to be perceived and the optics of it and yada yada. And so, anyways, but that's kind of one of the reasons one of the that's, I think, underlying reasons, maybe subconsciously, that I started this podcast, just to kind of talk about these things, talk about whatever, bring awareness to different things. And it's not necessarily to convince people one way or the other, but it's just to make people aware, and talk about it in a place where we can kind of find a common ground and understanding of, these different thoughts and processes, and you know what I mean, in a free forum.
Conduit of connection of sorts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm not so anyways, yeah, and then mountain biking just happens to be like an offshoot of that. That's one of the things I enjoy doing. I love to do. And one of the things that, I've kind of talked about, the positive benefits of it, being out in nature, yada yada. I'm kind of beating the dead horse here. But
And meet new people, all that stuff. But that's what it's all about, though.
yeah, man. So those are kind of just things on my radar. And it have been for a while. But I'm thinking that I am going to I'm thinking about, well, I'm not thinking about, but I am going to probably, this will probably be the last, I haven't told you about this, but I was thinking of this be the last podcast for a few weeks because I want to transition into a different software. I want to get to know it. And I want to um, really, start working on other videos, catch up. And then also the holidays are coming up. So I kind of want to take a
Yeah,
break from
yeah.
this and then work on some other stuff that like I this year, well, not this year, but next year, I'm going to be the point of one of the leads for TDTP racing. So I'm trying to work with not only Jonathan, which is,
Congratulations.
thank you. And I took it as a, I don't know, like a challenge, like because I've never done something like this. And so reaching out to sponsors on behalf of the program, working with, a nonprofit, which I've been doing for a while, even though I don't see it like that. Um, I don't see it as volunteering my time. I just love it so much. It doesn't even seem like that. So it's strange to say. So like trying to organize a team and figure out what our new direction next year, trying to get all on the same page. Like we had our first meeting last week about, what our expectations are going forward as a team, what we're expecting to, ask from sponsors, yada, yada. So that's one thing I want to work on. And also the new software, and then try to set up the new suite of equipment that's what I hopefully can get, and just really try to grow this thing in a, just upgrade, everything so we can have more guests in here, and then we can have you on as well, and just, just keep
So
growing it, trying to get better. Like, we've talked about
keep
before.
evolving.
Yeah, man, exactly. Keep evolving. I know we kind of talked about a lot of different things and subjects and stuff like that. And I also, thanks for the new subscribers that have subscribed. I think we've got like 10 more this week.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. And yeah, it's just we're just gonna kind of keep these conversations going. And I hopefully you enjoy the content. And if you have any questions or anything, just hit us up. You can email us at crash.chug@gmail.com.
Or you can check out my YouTube channel, Black Man in Madrid.
There you go. Chugg's starting to get his videos thing down. We're just trying to work out some bugs with his GoPro and stuff, but we'll get that figured out.
I
And
got a playlist of just bicycle stuff. You can click on there. This is around Kansas City. It's pretty. Uh,
yeah, and if you're in the Kansas City area, I mean, I know it's cold right now, but maybe you want to get with him and schedule some group rides or something, like get to know him, get to meet him. Definitely hit him up. And what do you got going on this weekend?
oh man, studying and cooking something. I don't know. I ain't looked to see what I'm cooking. Something weird with like rutabagas or something.
Rutabagas.
Yeah, something weird.
That's
I
cool.
ain't never heard of it. But
So,
nah, man, chilling, watching these Chiefs.
oh, that's right. I forgot about don't they play the Cowboys pretty soon? Or did they
Now
play
we
the
already
Cowboys?
beat them. We beat
Oh,
them about 2 weeks ago.
really? Was that a good game?
Yeah. Ah, we won. I won't say
Yeah.
it was a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got up for the weekend?
I I thought I was going to be going to the race this weekend because there's a race in Spider Mountain. Then we have a couple guys that are going to be racing on the team or racing the race that are on the team. And but I completely forgot about a 10K that I signed up for like 2 months ago, which I'm doing with
Woo-hoo.
some family members. And dude, I ran 2 months ago before I got injured. I ran like a couple 5Ks here, like around my house. And then,
You got it.
yeah. And then I ran once like 2 weeks ago where I ran like a 5K just to run it to see how to get my legs conditioned. But yeah, we got it this weekend. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting.
Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated.
Definitely. Yeah. So I completely forgot about that. So I'm doing that, and it's called like a rock and roll marathon or something like that. But I'm doing the 10K portion of it with my brother-in-law. So that
Okay.
should be interesting. So that's what I'm doing. That's the last 10K I ran, I think was in on our deployment. I think that was the last 10K I ran. It
That was
was a
probably
turkey
last time.
trot. I think it was a 10K, but
I don't think I ran that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But yeah, man. So that's what I'm getting into. But
Yeah.
yeah, so guys, I appreciate the new subscribers and look out for new content. Hopefully, it's going to be on the new software. And the formatting of this podcast might change a little bit because I don't have the same graphics that I had in the with this old software. So look forward to that. And there's be some changes, but hopefully for the better. And as always,
Stay tuned.
yeah, stay tuned, and we'll just try to keep this content going. And like I said, we're gonna just take a break and try to evolve, as Chuck said, and continue these discussions and just try to have fun with it. Have any questions or anything, or like I said, hit us up on an email or hit us up in the comments, and we'll just kind of keep this thing growing and try to bring a better um, content for you guys. So yeah, man.
Stay frosty.
All right, man. Stay frosty. Take care, and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, man. Out.
All right, Brody. I got a pee pee. Oh, I got a pee pee.
I don't know how to.